Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. Y'all know who I am. But if you may, for some reason, don't follow me on social media at Brian H. Waters, you may not know who this person is. So, as I attempt to give the best introduction in my life, the most important introduction in my life, I'd like to introduce you to my mother, Robin L. Waters. So I'm just gonna call you Ma, because so Ma, how you feel today? You for real?
I do. I feel great.
Mm-hmm. So we're here today because you recently just wrote a book. Now we're gonna have just a couple quick questions. I ain't gonna be before you long. But so you wrote this book. Is the title? Can you tell us the title and tell us why it's important?
Okay, the book is entitled "The Tears Behind My Smile," a tribute to my brother Michael A. Carroll Sr., who passed away in 2012.
Now, what was the inspiration behind this? Obviously, for me knowing you and Uncle Mike very close, the way that you raised me and Megan, the way I'm raising Jonathan and Ariana, the way that, you know, your mother and her brother was raised. Can you talk about why it was important for you to write this book?
It was so important because Michael was such a giant of a man. He was a legend. But during the time that he had become ill, I was so distraught, but I couldn't express it because I had to be support for his wife and children and for my children as well, who were very close to him. So I began writing as a journal to kind of release some of the pain, and then it just turned into a book.
Did you ever imagine that as you were starting to write, you did talk about it was start off as a journal. Did you ever imagine that one, it would be a finished book, but two, that it would be something that people would pick up and read to learn about not only you, not only about Uncle Mike, but also how to deal with grief?
I never imagined, as I said, the book started off as a journal. And then my daughter Megan and my son Brian, they would encourage me to write and to just tell the story. So the book started, it began with what we were going through at that time when Mike was first diagnosed. And then as I began to just write about our childhood and experiences, our closeness, the book took on a life of its own.
So looking back at it, what's the one takeaway you want people to, when they finish this book, what's the one takeaway you want them to have?
I want them to see the love between a brother and a sister, the closeness, because so many are not close. They have such animosity toward each other. And I've seen that with even close friends and family members. But Michael and I, and as you said, my mother and her brother, and you and your sister have such a close bond. You and Megan are each other's best friends, and that's a good thing. So, you know, love your family members while you can. Be close to them. You know, whatever you have, just let it go. Just be close to them. Love each other. Talk to each other. Be friends with each other, because we never know.
All right, so now that the book is done, what's been your breaking through the glass moment? What was the moment that you had that made you say, wow, I did it?
When I finished it and I found out that people were interested in reading it, I let you and Megan read it first. And then the publisher, he said to me, this is a very good book. So, and then people would want to know your story to help them get through their own story. So that was my breakthrough.
Now, I didn't pre-ask you questions. So I'm gonna put you on the hot seat here before we get out of here. And Megan's sitting over there. She don't even know where I'm going with this. But you know, you had a career in childcare.
I did.
Would it ever come a time where you write a book about the 12 plus years of doing daycare, especially
Mhm.
as a Black woman, a Black business owner,
Mhm.
and how you were able to not only do that, but simultaneously raise your 2 children and your 2 sisters, all while having a successful business?
Well, many, many years ago, while I was operating that business, I would chronicle some of the things that the children did, and it's a book.
Mhm.
You know, some of their funny moments that I wanted to share with their parents. But publishing, I never considered that. But I enjoyed what I did. So, and I always have loved to write. So that's what I did.
Maybe the real stories of Miss Robin's kitty care will be a book of the future.
Maybe. Maybe.
Any last things you want to say to the audience? Where can they find you? Where can they find the book?
Well, the book will be published at Amazon.
Mhm.
And just watch. There may be another book coming soon.
You heard what she said. The book will be published on Amazon. Make sure you subscribe right here. Leave a review. The link to the book will be in the description, so make sure you check it out. Support my mother. You know, she's the first person to support everybody. She would have wore her Breaking Through Glass Ceiling shirt, or she would have wore her Met Fitness shirt, which is shout out to my sister and her husband, my brother, their business. So she's the first one to support. So now it's time for y'all to support her.
Symphony of Balloons.
Symphony of Balloons, you're right. You know, go back in the archives, episode 100. Megan was here, so make sure y'all subscribe. And remember, folks, do not let anybody place a ceiling above your success. So long, everybody.